Hi friends, welcome to the Kat Scrappiness YouTube channel. If you are new here, we would love to have you click subscribe and click that bell to get notifications every time one of us uploads a new video. I'm Kim and I'm going to be sharing some new goodies today. I am going to be sharing the new shaker dimension set here, and this is the gift shaker dimension set. You can see it's got this great piece that's got like a wood veneer on one side and a nice thick paper on the back, and it comes with the foam piece that fits perfectly behind that. It's about 5 millimeters thick, and it also comes with a pre-cut piece of acetate. So this is everything you need to create your shaker element. I'm using my Teal Seashell clay slices, some clear drops, and some aqua gems. I pulled out some glazes because I'm also going to be playing with one of the new Kat Scrappiness stencils. I'm going to be playing with the Falling Stars stencil. I've got some acrylic paints. I've got some distress oxides. I pulled out some enamel dots, and you can see I have a color combination in my mind here. I've got my glue tube, and I've got one of the new Kat Scrappiness blender brushes. So I decided I would start by creating a background for my gift shaker element. So I'm going to build my shaker element first, and I pulled out a bunch of glazes and stuff from my stash, and I haven't quite decided what I want to use those for, if I use them at all, but I do know I want to actually use some acrylic paint on this gift shaker element. So I've pulled out this apple green color. It's really pretty. It's got a little shimmer, and then I have this Viridian color which doesn't have the shimmer, so of course I settled on the shimmer one. And I'm using this greenish teal color because I love this color, and my daughter loves this color, so I know she will enjoy this card if I eventually get around to sending it. You know how that is. And so I started out by just using a piece of white cardstock, and I'm just ink blending with one of those new little blender brushes. I love these little blender brushes. They're a very nice size. It's like holding a pencil, and it's a very comfortable size. It works really well on these little stars, and I'm using the Distress Oxide color that is Evergreen Bough. You notice that I used some of my Spellbinders craft tape to sort of make a hinge at the top of my stencil so it would hold everything in place. I put that aside until I was ready to use it, and I went ahead and started painting that green onto I decided to paint it onto the wood side of the gift shaker. It doesn't matter because it's the same either way. I did put a little bit on the back so you could see the paper works just as well as the wood side if you want to use that side. So this one is pretty symmetrical whether I use the wood or the paper part, but some of the other shaker elements in the shop might make a difference if you turn it left or right. So you can certainly add that paint to either side. Now you don't have to use acrylic paint. You could use ink and just sponge it on. You could use some of those molding pastes or glazes to add your color. I just wanted to point out Kat Scrappiness came out with these fantastic tool holders, and you can see everything fits in there. I love this. It takes up such a small footprint on my desk and it holds all the tools that I use all the time. So I did put one coat of paint on that gift shaker, and I put it aside. I'm going to let that dry, and I'll add 2 more coats of that paint. You can see I'm just using a sponge brush and some inexpensive acrylic paint that I have in my stash. So I did trace that acetate piece on the back, or on the background piece that I created for my gift shaker. I decided I want the inside of my gift shaker to have a white background, and I'm going to make a background in this greenish teal color for my actual card. So I thought a nice white background would be perfect for my shaker element because it will make it a little bit brighter. So this part, I dabbed the glue on. You definitely want to get enough adhesive on this. So I kind of smushed it around a little so all the bits would be covered with glue once I added it to that piece of card that I stenciled and cut out. I always add a little bit of my powder tool to the inside of the acetate and the inside of the card to remove any static when I'm creating shaker cards. And I poured some of these are the Teal Seashells. I love these. They have like several shades of this teal color, so they work really well with the paint and the ink colors that I'm using today. I also poured some of these really pretty aqua colored gems in. The gems are so sparkly and they catch the light nicely. I always add these little 3mm clear drops. And one thing I'm really liking about the shaker element is that it's about 5mm thick. So it's a little thicker than the foam tape I normally use. And I can get a lot of those shaker elements in. So again, I dotted the glue here. You want to make sure you get enough of this glue on because you want all parts of that foam, top and bottom, to be sealed. So I'm adding the acetate, and you can see that when I put the acetate, I kind of squish the glue because I don't want there to be any room for those shaker bits to slide out through between the acetate and the acetate and the foam. So I'm doing another coat on that gift shaker. And I did 3 altogether. I didn't really want to see the wood element at all. And I'm making a very monochromatic card. I love monochromatic cards. I tend to pick 2 colors like white and teal, or in this case, it's white and shades of teal, although I will add a touch of gray at the end. And I just am covering this and I'm letting it dry between coats. Acrylic paint is nice to add to these shaker elements because it dries so quickly. In 5 minutes, it's dry enough for the next coat, so you can move right along and you can do little things in between. So once I did that and it dried, I added a little glue to the back of just the gift part of it. You don't need the glue on the back of the ribbon part of it, and added it there. And I love how this turned out. It was so easy with this shaker kit. I didn't have to mess with any, cutting down the acetate. I didn't have to mess with like looking for the right foam to fit the back of it. So it worked out really well. So I decided to make my background, and I took that evergreen bough and I just swiped it on a piece of white cardstock, and then I went over it with a little bit of peacock feathers because I wanted it to have a little bit more of a blue tint to it, and I liked the way this came out in the end. Then I pulled out that stencil. This is the Falling Stars stencil. It's one of 4 in this series of stencils, and they're so much fun. I love how there's a lot of space between them at the top, and then it gets denser with stars at the bottom. I really like that. So I pulled out from my stash, this is white pearl Deco Foil Metallics gel, and it's a little on the old side, so it's kind of thick, but it's working just fine. You can see I used my Spellbinders craft tape to make a little hinge there. I'm using a very inexpensive palette knife to add that to the top, and then I can pull off the stencil. I love this part when you pull off the stencil. It's my favorite part. So ordinarily I would actually do the gel first and let that dry and then do some ink blending. And when I tried that, the gel actually, this particular brand of gel actually absorbed the ink. So I decided that I would swipe that ink onto my paper and then add the stars over the top of that. And I was much happier with the end result here this time. And I did give those stars about an hour to dry, by the way. So you need time to let those dry, and you want to clean that stencil right away. I've used a piece of basil Swiss dot paper in a deep gray, and I just cut down my star background to 3 3/4 by 5. The basil mat is cut at 4 by 5 1/4. You can see I just added some liquid glue to adhere my layers and my shaker element. I did pull out a sentiment that I had created from the Happy Days stamp set, but I decided that I really don't want a sentiment on there. I love the way this looks. I think this shaker element is super fun, so I don't want to cover it. I'll put my sentiment on the inside, and I love the way that came out. It was so quick and easy to do this, and that those shaker elements really made it easy. So I like this. It's much easier to make a shaker card like this, and you can do it in all kinds of fun shapes. You'll find those in the shop. So thank you so much for watching. Please give this video a thumbs up, and you'll find all the links to the products below. Have a wonderful day, friends.